Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and at long last, the Mega Master League has finally made its return. The triple Mega Glitch has been patched, so the format finally gets to be played as intended. Today, I'm going to be showcasing a powerful Primal Kyogre team that I used to climb over 100 elo in 3 sets to hit Veteran on stream. This team features Florges on the lead with its new legacy move of Chilling Water, Dialga Origin as the safe switch, and the ever-deadly Primal Kyogre as the closer, with Thunder to try and catch Mega Gyarados off guard. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and in game number 1, we've got a true mirror lead, Florges into Florges. Now, you should always be running Best Buddy equipped on Florges. For this first game, I actually forgot to equip Best Buddy, so I end up winning Charge Stack Priority, but it's a 50-50. That's no guarantee, whereas if I had it Best Buddied, I would always be winning that. This Florges is actually on Trailblaze, interestingly enough. So they're still on the old moveset. I do think Chilling Water is an absolute must on Florges, because otherwise Florges has no counterplay into Primal Groudon. And Primal Groudon is an incredibly terrifying Pokemon to deal with. I shield up the Moonblast, overfarm quite a bit, and my opponent is going to make a last-second move, but they're short of the Moonblast. It's only going to be a Trailblaze. In comes Palkia. I have enough for the Moonblast, but I'm feeling greedy. I go for the Chilling Water bait. It gets the shield. Now they're debuffed. I'm going to get to the Moonblast, and this is going to inflict massive damage or grab their final shield. Palkia is going to no-shield. In the back is Primal Groudon. In comes Primal Kyogre. Waterfall shred through that Pokemon. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Great lead in the next match, leading Florges into Mega Gyarados. Gyarados can always stay in this lead matchup and chip with an Aqua Tail before switching out. Gyarados has lightning fast pacing, opponent is going to save switch into their Florges, and I decide to stay in here and just fire off my Moonblast. I want to get some damage onto my opponent, and a bit of good luck goes my way as I get a Moonblast debuff. That's only a 10% chance of occurring. Now my opponent suddenly can't do nearly as much damage as they typically would. I was going to overfarm an Iron Head right before they made their second Moonblast, but my opponent only ends up going for the Chilling Water. That's very okay by me. Opponent tries to go for an Iron Head catch onto their Dialga, but I get to react in time, go for the Roar of Time, and that's going to leave a mark. As you can see, some of the animations are still a bit bright today. They're not nearly as bad as Psywave, so I didn't end up putting any kind of a warning in, but just know, some of the animations, specifically on Roar of Time, are a bit brighter than normal, but thankfully not nearly as bad as Psywave was yesterday. Florges gets a big farm down, in comes Mega Gyarados, and I will be going for the Chilling Water bait. The Chilling Water bait is called. That's a nice play by my opponent as they're fighting to stay alive in this game, but even though I had my bait called, I've debuffed them, which means that Aqua Tail is now going to do nothing. In comes Florges. They're trying to snipe me with a Chilling Water, but I say no. I'm going to catch it onto Primal Kyogre, and look at Kyogre go. These are -1 waterfalls, and they're still absolutely destroying this Florges. Florges gets me to -2. I do have Thunder for this very purpose, but they're low enough that I think I'm pretty safe to go for the Surf Bait. The Surf Bait finally gets the shield. It ends up being a Charge Stack Priority tie. Kyogre is going to win CMP over Gyarados. They crunch, I switch into the Florges, and now I'm not going to be baiting. I'm ahead by so much energy that my opponent's correct play is always to no-shield, as if they end up shielding a Moonblast, they don't win. The only way they can win is if they no-shield a Chilling Water, so I full send the Moonblast, it lands through the shield, and we take the win. We see the same leads in the next match, Florges into Mega Gyarados. My opponent safe switches into Mewtwo, and I am going to respond with Dialga. The only reason to save switch a Mewtwo is if you're trying to lure out a Gyarados and Focus Blast it. So to me, this is always going to be a shield, because there's no reason to ever run another move on Mewtwo in the Mega Master League, because if you don't have coverage for Gyarados, it's a pretty useless Mewtwo. So I do get the shield call right, which is very nice. Psystrike, not going to do a ton of damage, and now I get a full farm down. I exit with a lot of loaded energy as well. They're probably going to be bringing back in the Gyarados, but Gyarados will immediately be under pressure from a Roar of Time. I feel that a bait here is just too risky, so I full send the Roar of Time. They do end up shielding, but getting that shield back is honestly really nice. Perfect counting by my opponent. My goodness, they do not let me get that Roar of Time. Crunch picks up the KO. Back in comes Florges. In the back is Zacian, and Primal Kyogre is about to absolutely delete Crown Form Zacian. This team is ABA weak to the crown, so if you see Zacian or Zamazenta to lead, it's going to be a very difficult game. However, outside of that, I felt like this team put me at a team comp advantage in most every game. Now, my opponent has no reason to ever shield here because they have to save the shield for the Moonblast. So I get to full send the Thunder. They do not respect it. Down goes Gyarados, and we take another win. Looking for the 5-0 set, and we have a perfect mirror lead, Florges into Florges. But as you look at the combat power, I have Best Buddy boost equipped, so I'm always going to be winning CMP. I full send the Moonblast, it's going to land, and we get another Moonblast debuff. I'm having some really nice debuff luck today. Moonblast connects, it's not going to do a ton of damage from them because they are at -1, and I'm always going to be just full sending the Moonblast. If my opponent decides to call it, they're getting knocked out here, and they do, so I'm able to take a nice advantage. In comes Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre is going to look for the farm down. I am on the 6th cycle now, so I do get to this Moonblast just barely, and then I will get farmed down. But I can send in Dialga. My opponent only going to go for a Surf. And the moment I no shield, I'm suddenly worried because what if it's a mirror team? And it is a mirror team! Oh no. I'm intentionally not building up to the Roar of Time here. I want my opponent to no shield this because I see only one win con, and that is to farm everything down with Kyogre. I no shield. I'm going to force them to Roar of Time here. They go for the Iron Head, and now I see a chance. I'm going for another Iron Head. This does not knock out. I'm hoping they let it through, and they do, and now it's time. I reveal Primal Kyogre. We're going to be shielding up everything and just trying to farm their entire team down with Waterfalls. They're going to bring in their own Primal Kyogre, but they're energy dry. So, as these Waterfalls continue to add up, my opponent needs 2 Surfs, and they just simply cannot get there. I'm going well over 100 energy, but I'm never throwing a charge move for the rest of this game. Kyogre farms down my opponent. All that's left in the back is Dialga. We farm that down as well, and that's going to be a 5-0 set. We're now at 2494 Elo, picking up a great lead. Florges into Primal Groudon. Primal Groudon is going to be on Dragon Tail in this meta. My opponent is going to safe switch into Lugia, and I decide to bring in Primal Kyogre. The reason I send in Kyogre here is because if they're leading Groudon, they should have a very good check to Kyogre in the back. So if I can use Kyogre in a neutral matchup, then I have high incentive to do so. I'm not baiting. I'm full sending the Thunder. My opponent does actually put up a shield. That's a little bit unfortunate. I'm always just going to be no shield in the fly and going for a massive farm down with Dialga. But because this is early in the Mega Master League, it looks like my opponent has not TM'd over their Lugia. It's still on Sky Attack instead of Fly. So I'm going to get smacked with an Aero Blast, but I have to be no shielding because I'm going to need the shields for Florges. They're going to combo play with the Groudon, but they only banked a Fire Punch. I can barely hang on, send in the Florges, and let's start spamming out Chilling Water. This is double super effective, but Primal Groudon is an absolute menace. This is only a Fire Punch. They do not have enough for a Precipice Blade, so I will no shield. That's a -1 Fire Punch, and that still does an incredible amount of damage. Chilling Water number 2 is going to land. Groudon's going to switch out. In the back is Dialga, but they have the OG Dialga, not Dialga Origin. Either way, Dialga really likes its new pacing this season. It gets to the Iron Head so much faster. I have to shield because at this point, all they have is Dragon-type fast moves. They have Dragon Tail on Lugia and Groudon and Dragon Breath on their Dialga. So as long as I keep shields, I switch into my own Dialga, and I do get the last second Roar of Time. That's going to pick up the knockout onto their Dialga. They bring in Lugia. I'm pretty close to a move on Florges. I get there before they're able to make it to their move. This will knock them out, and with the shield still up for Florges, I will win this game as we can Fairy Wind down Primal Groudon and take the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Florges into Palkia, a very, very nice lead. Obviously, switch advantage will matter a lot. Opponent safe switches into a Dragon Breath Mega Charizard Y. What a cool pick from my opponent. Unfortunately for them, my Kyogre is going to do amazingly here. They go for the Air Cutter. Thankfully, they do not get the boost, and I'm just going to be no shielding and farming all the way down. They get the boost. I intentionally don't tap my screen there to take a few extra Dragon Breaths because I want to limit the Palkia farm, but I also can't let them get to a third Air Cutter. Thunder lands. That's huge damage onto the Palkia. And at this point, I'm feeling very good. That Palkia is so low. In comes the Florges. I'm going to be no shielding and saving shields for Dialga in the end game. Aqua Tail is going to land. They farm up. Oh no! It's Zacian in the back, and I have fallen for my opponent's trap. They save switch Charizard to try and lure out any potential Kyogres, and now with my Kyogre gone, I'm about to get swept by Zacian Crown form. I believe I mentioned at the start this team is ABA weak to the crowns. So if you see the crowns on lead, it's going to be an uphill battle. But if you don't see the crowns, then you're going to be at a pretty significant team comp advantage into most other teams. So if the meta ends up with a ton of crown form leads, you could always end up trying out a Primal Groudon team. I'm going to be putting out a Primal Groudon team in the morning because I also had really nice results with Primal Groudon. They're going to go for the close combat. There's the combo play with Palkia. But at this point, my only hope is to try and farm down, and Palkia is just too spammy. Palkia will get that Aqua Tail. Very well played by my opponent. A creative team with Mega Charizard Y, and played exceedingly well on top of that. We move to the next game. Great lead. Florges into Primal Groudon. As Florges, I can always just stay in here and shield up their Precipice Blades, because in the twos, Florges is able to win it without a Precipice Blades landing, and if they eventually ever switch out, then it's going to get aligned into that Kyogre. So I'm going to be shielding everything here. They will go for the Precipice Blades. There's a safe switch into Dialga, and I'm going to go for a bit of an odd play. I'm desyncing the switch timers, and I'm going for a Chilling Water bait, but that's actually intentional, because I just want to bring in my own Dialga, and we actually get a catch on top of that as well. Because in back, I don't have a good answer to an energy advantage, shield advantage Dialga Origin. So I'm not going to play for switch. Instead, I get the catch, I'm going to go for the Iron Head, and I'm just going to try and get an energy advantage on Florges. My thought process in this game is that with an energy advantage on Florges, my opponent's not going to want to bring in the Primal Groudon. Instead, they're probably going to bring in whatever they have in back. And if they do that, then I get the alignment I want, which is Kyogre onto the Groudon. Let's see, do they bring it in? They do not, and this game's gonna be a win. I'm going for a Chilling Water bait here. My opponent is gonna call it. What I learned from these sets is you can probably just full send a lot of Moonblast and land them because people are expecting Chilling Water. But even if my opponent calls the bait, which they do, they still can't win. I landed the Moonblast, and now, unfortunately, we've gotta show them Kyogre. Well, unfortunately for them, I'm very pleased to have a Primal Kyogre in the back. They bring in the Groudon, and look at the waterfalls go. Down goes Groudon, and that's a good game. We move to the next game, Florges into Mega Scizor. This is a core breaker. But the good news is Dialga, even though everything is resisted, Dialga can still put up a very nice fight. So Night Slash not going to do a ton of damage, and I'm going to look to play this out. But they get the Night Slash boost on the very first try, and suddenly this is looking like a very difficult game. I should be able to absorb multiple Night Slashes and not really get Bullet Punch down, but since they boosted, now I can't. The Night Slash lands, I get the last second Iron Head on very low HP. This Iron Head will not KO by any means, but it does get valuable damage onto the Scizor. Scizor will get to the Trailblaze, but throwing the Trailblaze would be a mistake. They should always go double Night Slash, because if they do, then they're guaranteed to land a boosted move onto Kyogre, so my opponent has a very good understanding of how to play this mid game. Going for the Trailblaze there would be a huge error. They make the right call. It's Palkia in the back, and I'm in trouble. I send in my Florges, they bring in theirs. They immediately go for the Chilling Water to get the turn back. However, I'm still up on energy. This is still going to be a very, very odd endgame. I'm just full sending the Moonblast. I need whatever damage I can get, and my opponent shields. With them shielding, is there ever a world in which I can combo with the Kyogre and figure out a way to win this? They bait with the Chilling Water, clocks up, there's the combo into Kyogre. Is this going to be enough damage? Florges takes the Surf, it barely survives. There is the switch into Palkia. I'm trying to get to the Thunder. My opponent will never let me get there. Very precise overfarm from them, as they will get the KO with Spatial Rend. I do have a Moonblast banked. I farm up to 100 energy because I need to be close to a Chilling Water. Moonblast lands, they get KO'd. They bring in their Florges. Did they have enough to bank the Moonblast? They did. Moonblast lands. I survive on very low HP, but does a Chilling Water KO? Chilling Water does not KO, and the game ends in a tie. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Hopping into the next match, and we see an absolute disaster of a lead. Florges into Zacian. Anytime you see a crown form on the lead, it's going to be a really tough game. I'm going to throw the Iron Head on their 13th Metal Claw to CMP tie with the double close combat. This means that my Iron Head will actually do way more damage if they let it through because they're trapped on the field with -2 defense. So Iron Head is going to be shielded. They end up under-tapping. I decide not to throw the Iron Head because I was worried about a potential catch. There's the switch out into Gyarados. Thanks to this 45-second switch timer, I can bank so much energy and then catch the crunch back onto the Florges. I really love this 45-second timer. It is unbelievably good. And now I'm just looking to make it to a Moonblast. My opponent will outpace, continuing to burn their switch clock, but I'm hoping to throw right as they get to their move, and it ends up being a CMP tie. This works out a lot better for me actually, because I should be able to switch pretty soon once they decide to bring in whatever they have. So Moonblast will land, picking up the KO. In comes Palkia, and I probably just lose this game. I aggressively switch back into Dialga. Roar of Time is going to be shielded. Palkia staying in, and I actually outpace. The new pacing on Dialga paying dividends. This Roar of Time lands, picking up the knockout, and somehow, against all odds, I don't think I ever should have won this game, but somehow we're going to survive and exit this match with a win. If they could Metal Claw down, they have a chance to win, but they cannot. Dialga able to just absorb that fast move pressure and force them to go for the close combat. Now that they're debuffed, Primal Kyogre is going to get the full farm down. My opponent realizes it, and they will concede the match. Our final game for Veteran is against Caleb Peng. We pick up a very good lead, leading Florges into the Groudon. He's going to save switch into Florges. He's behind a turn, but he can get the turn back by going for Chilling Water. Chilling Water is going to be no shielded. I build up to the Moonblast, and I will go for the Chilling Water bait. The Chilling Water bait is successful. We grab a shield, and now I'm immediately pretty far ahead. At this point, I'm never going to be switching out of the Florges, basically. I'm more than happy to just take the shield advantage into the end game because Dialga up a shield, or obviously Kyogre in any shielding scenario, will be able to handle that Groudon. My opponent should always go for the Chilling Water here because Chilling Water knocks out and they should assume that I should commit to the Moonblast. But I know what they're going to do, so I end up going for the Chilling Water just to get a little bit of damage. And now, I actually survived this, so now is the time when I switch. I send in Dialga looking for the Dragon Breath down, but Florges says no. Florges hangs on very low health, makes it to the Chilling Water, and now I'm going to be debuffed. I do get a really nice farm down though. In comes Primal Groudon, and it's actually a Mud Shot Primal Groudon. I do think that it's definitely better on Dragon Tail. Roar of Time is debuffed, so it's not going to do a ton of damage. I'm putting up the shield because even a Fire Punch would inflict some serious damage. They full send the Blades, as Blades would be what knocks out. And now I'm going to be full sending as well. Iron Head will never KO, but a Roar of Time will. They are going to end up shielding. We overfarm to the max and get the catch onto the Florges. And the important thing is, not only do we waste his energy, but that catch desyncs the switch timers. Now I get to wait down the whole switch timer, send in Kyogre, and he switches. In the back is Tapu Bulu. But this is how you can take advantage of this new switch timer. Watch this. Because he gets to go for the Grass Knot, but because I caught a move and waited the timer, after only 2 charge moves, I can switch out into Dialga, snipe with the Iron Head. His switch clock is not yet available. Iron Head KOs the Tapu Bulu. In comes Primal Groudon. Primal Groudon does get that farm down. 1 Waterfall from Kyogre secures the 4-1 set, and we get Veteran in this season of Go Battle League. All in all, day 1 of Mega Master League, I had the absolute time of my life. This is an unbelievably fun format. And it honestly leaves me a little bit frustrated that it took them this long to fix the triple mega glitch. But now that it's finally fixed and we get to appreciate this format in all its glory, I think it's one of the most fun formats that Go Battle League has to offer. I really feel like there's a lot of different megas that are viable. We saw everything. We actually lost to a Charizard. We lost to a Scizor. Obviously, the Primals are going to be very strong. Rayquaza, I think, is also quite strong as well. Breaking Swipe is now very expensive, but cheaper Dragon Energy is really nice for Rayquaza. So I think there's a lot of different viable megas. And as far as the supporting cast options, I think it's really difficult to go wrong with Florges plus Dialga, as both of those have pretty solid play into Gyarados, which is the most commonly used mega, and they're both just extremely consistent. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.